People take a whole lot of strange things onto airplanes, from spiked gas masks to human flesh pills. I'm Bob from World 5 List. Join me as I show you 12 of the strangest things ever found by airport security. Number 12. A grenade. Now, it's probably common sense, but just in case, don't take a grenade to the airport. And as you can see from the picture, the grenade in question is quite old, but no doubt when security found it in a bag at the Austin Bergstrom International Airport, they were pretty shocked. After all, when you bring something like a grenade, you can't help but think that it's active no matter how old it is. Not to mention you can't trust the person who tried to transport it because they may be lying about whether the device is active or not. So bomb specialists were brought in to help ensure that it was safe. And just for your information, this one was dead from the start. Regardless of whether it's real, a fake, a replica, or anything in between, is not allowed on an airplane. It doesn't matter whether it's checked or carried on. Number 11. Saw blades. Now, an interesting one for you. Just imagine that you're buying saw blades as a gift for someone, because that's a great gift, right? How exactly do you transport them? Would you make sure they were wrapped up nicely and put in a box, or would you go for the easy option and sneak them on a plane? Well, that's what one person tried to do, and TSA didn't take to it at all, because they tried to bring them on via their carry-on and hid them under an iPad. I mean, really? You couldn't think of a less stressful way of getting saw blades on board a plane? They're not illegal to transport, but when you bring them on in such a way, it's not really surprising that security is going to become suspicious. The situation got worked out and the person was able to board the plane, but something tells me the blades were moved to a more secure location. Number 10. A chainsaw. Now, keeping up with saws, a person tried to actually bring a chainsaw onto a plane and got shot down, figuratively speaking. Can you guess why, though? It wasn't because the item was a chainsaw, and it wasn't that the blade was sharp like it should be. It was something a whole lot more subtle. Well, it's simply because the chainsaw was full of gasoline. That's right, the TSA doesn't mind if you bring a chainsaw on board. They just want to make sure you can't turn it on under any circumstances and wield a flesh mask and go running up and down the aisles. To be honest, it does make a whole lot of sense. Though it also makes me wonder, why did a person have it all gassed up when they brought it on the plane to begin with? Were they going right to the job site and didn't have time to stop? These are the questions that keep me up at night. Number 9. Animals. Now, I've done lists about animals being smuggled into places before. However, I would be remiss if I didn't at least begin by mentioning exactly how people have tried to sneak animals of all shapes and sizes. There's so many documented cases of animals being smuggled and transported through airports that it's really insane. And it's not even just small ones like cats and dogs. I'm talking about big ones like tigers. Well, tiger cubs, but still pretty big, along with crocodiles, snakes, lobsters, which are actually legal to transport on a plane if done the right way, and a whole lot more. People even stuff snakes down their pants. No, that's not a joke. I can imagine, though, what security or a TSA agent would say if they found an animal. Got another one? Number 8. Drugs. Drugs are probably one of the most common things to try and sneak on a plane, but like animals, I need to talk about the strange ways that people have tried to do it. The most common way to get through airport security is by hiding the drugs in food, like actual food. The belief is that because it's concealed inside of the food, it's going to be blocked by the X-ray machine and won't be sniffed out by dogs. However, it's 2018. You idiots. Dogs are trained to block out other smells and focus on the ones that they're searching for. And as for those X-ray machines, they see just about everything. And if something looks dense or off and they can't see through something, security's going to hand check it. So there's no way to conceal it in food when an X-ray can see through one layer and reveal the mystery inside. Number 7. A cannonball. Another story that you just can't make up, but also needs a little bit of context. You see, a diver was doing some exploration on a shipwreck when he found an unused cannonball. He thought it was super awesome, because it was, and he tried to transport it on a plane. The problem, however, is that even when a cannonball isn't fired, it can still explode under the right circumstances, and it goes especially when it's one that's gone far beyond its use-by date. When TSA examined the cannonball, they found it was indeed still able to explode, and the airport had to be evacuated. Great! Number 6, a smoke bomb. But first, if you're enjoying this video and you're new here, be sure you're subscribed, because I want to bring you more awesome videos in the future. Also, turn on your notifications and leave a like and a comment below. Now, what would happen if someone, say, brought something that wasn't dead? Not a grenade, but rather a smoke bomb. Now, on the surface, you may think it's not such a bad thing, but the TSA at Raleigh-Durham International Airport in North Carolina really disagreed with that thought. Sure, a smoke bomb isn't meant to hurt anyone through explosive means like a grenade would be. However, as anyone who's been on the other end of a smoke bomb knows, they're hardly harmless. In fact, TSA posted about the event and explained the dangers of the device, saying that not only do smoke grenades deploy a thick blanket of smoke, they also burn extremely hot and are considered hazmat. They're prohibited from both carry-on and checked bags. So listen to the TSA and don't get caught bringing one onto a plane. But again, why would you? Just buy one when you get there, people. Number 5, severed heads. Now just imagine you're working at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, one of the biggest and busiest, most packed airports in the United States, if not the world. That's when you find a suitcase that hasn't been picked up, and you're naturally curious, so you investigate. However, when you open it up, there are 18 severed heads inside. What's going on here? Did you find the suitcase of a serial killer? A madman? Well, actually, no. You found a suitcase full of cadaver heads, ones that were actually being transported for medical reasons. It turns out there was a mix-up in terms of destination because of some paperwork, and thus they ended up at O'Hare. Thankfully, they were returned to the rightful owner, but could you just imagine the shock and horror of the person who found it? I mean, really, WTF? Number 4, avalanche charge. I read this report and I couldn't help but go, really? I mean, who tries to bring in a device that's designed to cause an avalanche? Even more, what kind of person actually builds such a thing? Well, those were questions that TSA no doubt had for a man who got caught with one in Anchorage International Airport. There are a whole lot of things that go through my mind at this point. First off, the device was actually homemade, which means he either created it himself or knew the person who did. Either way, it's crazy. Secondly, why would you want to make an avalanche? Which brings me to, where exactly were you planning on using it? Did the guy just want the thrill of creating an avalanche, or was it a more nefarious purpose? I'll likely never get the answers to these questions, but given that the man was arrested after the device was found, I'm just content in knowing that he probably won't be able to complete his mission for a very long time. Number 3, spiked gas mask. A man in Miami was trying to take a flight, and in his carry-on bag was a gas mask. Now, it wasn't your typical gas mask. It was one that was heavily stylized, including having bullets protruding off the mask itself. He was clearly going to a party, or maybe even Burning Man, and was going to wear the mask as part of his costume. But they pulled him aside, and it wasn't because of the bullets. However, he wasn't allowed to try with the mask because it was viewed as a potential hazard to other people. The most hilarious thing, though, is after finding the mask, a TSA agent posted it on Instagram and asked the question, maybe he was catching a one-way flight to #Fury Road. See, the TSA does have a sense of humor. Number 2, human eyeballs. Now, I wish, I so wish I was joking, but I'm not. In 2007 at London's Stansted Airport, a search by security found that a person had a glass jar in one of their bags, and inside of that jar was 10 human eyeballs. Now, first off, I'd like to note my restraint for not saying each and every eye pun that's going through my head right now. Get it? Secondly, I can't comprehend why this person would have that many eyeballs in a glass jar and was taking them somewhere on a plane. It clearly was not for a medical endeavor, and it was also proven by the fact that they were in a jar and not medically sealed container. So why did he have these? Well, nobody knows, but I would not want to be the security guard who found them. Sure, it's creepy, and maybe the serial killer needed to take his trophies with him, but what exactly is going on here? What do you think as to why he would need a jar of eyeballs, and where he got them in the first place? Number 1, the human flesh pill. Now, just the description of the item is enough to give you chills, and yet it's not only a real thing, it's something that people do really take. These pills would be found by South Korean customs agents after observing a case arriving from China. And yes, they're literally what they sound like, pills that are full of human flesh. Now, what possible purpose could someone have for wanting that, you may ask? Well, to make themselves better, of course. These medicinal pills are believed to actually give humans better stamina, and how that happens, I have no idea. Again, I'm glad that I wasn't the officer who found them, because I wouldn't want to write up that report. Thanks for watching. Can you believe that people tried to sneak these things through airports? Which one is the strangest of the bunch? Let me know all about it in the comments below. Be sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you next time.